Hello and welcome to the video. My name is Tintin. I am the YouTube producer for Ali Abdaal, which means I help him make videos kind of from start to finish, including thumbnails. So I've made a lot of thumbnails for the channel in the past year. And in this video, I'm going to go through how we make thumbnails and the mistakes that beginners make when they make thumbnails. And I'm going to use my own channel, which this is my personal channel. I don't post videos much on here anymore, but over 2 years ago, I started it. And I'm going to talk about my own thumbnails here to just demonstrate the mistakes that lots of beginners make, and give you 3 things to remember at the end, so you can take away all the learnings and apply them to your own channel to improve your own thumbnails and grow to 1 million subscribers and all that fun stuff. So yeah, how do we make thumbnails, and how should you think about thumbnails as a YouTuber? Well, obviously, when people click onto YouTube, the first thing they see is thumbnails. So you want to really prioritize your thumbnails naturally, because it's the representation of the video, and no one can see the video without clicking on the video. Mobile is obviously a bit different with autoplay, but they're really important. And there's kind of 2 things that I think about with the thumbnails, the main 2 things that summarize our process. The first thing is basically taking inspiration from other places. If you've read Steal Like an Artist by Austin Kleon, you'll be familiar with the kind of concept here. Basically, just looking around YouTube for other thumbnails and seeing what works and what's done well, and seeing if we can then take it and make it our own in a non-plagiarisy way, in a kind of nice, friendly way. And the other thing to think about is to make loads of thumbnails, to sort of iterate the thumbnails when you have a concept in mind. So I'm going to demonstrate that by going here in Canva. So this is a thumbnail that we made a while ago. I've made a lot of thumbnails in Canva. We use Photoshop a little bit more these days. But when I was making this one, I made a lot of them. You can see here a lot of different iterations, just dropping concepts, dropping ideas, kind of duplicating things and changing it. And you can just see there's just loads of different stuff in here about, I was thinking like, what could work? What could be good here? How do I want to think about this? And there's just loads of different options. The final result was not necessarily that great, but it was my best at the time. And the video was about brain care, so it was kind of a tricky one. But the reason I like doing it in Canva is because you can make loads really easily. And so you can look at this, be like, you know what? I'm going to duplicate this. Would this look good in red? Like, okay, does this one look better or this one look better? You know what? No, I think this is better. I'm going to duplicate it. Now I'm going to make this white. Does that look better or does that look better? And then you can be like, okay, I think this one looks better. I'm going to change it. I'm going to try this in red. And you're sort of going through this process of just like iterating on the thumbnail. The key here is to think about not just the concept of the thumbnail, but also, not just think about the design of the thumbnail, but also think about the concept. So it's all well and good if you're just like iterating the same thing and trying to make it better, but then you're focusing on the design a lot rather than the psychology of the thumbnail, because it could be that this actually is not that interesting, or to a random viewer or a returning viewer is just not that clickable. But there you're kind of stuck in the weeds, like iterating it, trying to make it better, when actually the concept is not that good in the first place. So that's why it's good to have a bunch of different concepts like this kind of laid out. Be like, okay, could we do one where we have this kind of image Ali's just kind of in that pose, or one we've got icons, or one where there's kind of a brain in the background, or one where it's like a before and after kind of situation, which is what we end up going for, or maybe Ali isn't even in the thumbnail. And so, yeah, that's the kind of 2-step process, really, is like taking inspiration from other places and then making lots of iterations and trying to figure out through that process which one is the best, and focusing on the psychology of the thumbnail, not just the design. The mistakes that a lot of beginner YouTubers make is they obviously make simple mistakes, like kind of putting too much text on the thumbnail, making it a bit too complicated, too busy, and simple things like that. The main issue with beginners is that they think that people have more context for their videos and have more interest in their videos than they actually do. So if I'm a random person, I have no idea who this person is, and I come across all these thumbnails, I think to myself, like, I will analyze that. I will look at it as though I'm a viewer, and like with this one, I thought when I was making the thumbnail that it was really obvious, but just as a random person, I look at that and I think, okay, what does this actually mean? I've got like, clearly this person is a bit confused. There's a background with like all these doors and then one is highlighted yellow. Like, what does that actually mean? Is he kind of trying to represent like something to do with like choosing the right door, or like kind of making the right choice and how to figure out what to do with your life maybe? It's all a bit confusing. And the time it takes to kind of process what's actually happening in the thumbnail, you have seen another one and you've clicked on that one instead. Or you're watching that video instead. You've moved on. And when I was making this thumbnail, I really, really thought it was extremely obvious what was going on. I'm confused. The title is How to Figure Out What to Do with Your Life. I'm confused. In the background, I've got all these doors, and the yellow one is supposed to indicate you kind of finding the right one after watching this video. It's like, these are all the options you've got in your life. The yellow door is the right one. And that's kind of like, that's the journey that you're going to go on in the video. And I thought that was really obvious, but it just wasn't. Excuse me. And it's the same with lots of other thumbnails, whereas this one here, how I listen to hundreds of podcasts a year, 8 tips. So in this thumbnail, if I didn't know this person, there's just a lot going on. And I've got a phone, AirPods, the person, got knowledge is power in the background, kind of lightning. And it's like not immediately clear what's happening here, what's the video really about just from the thumbnail. And there's just a lot to look at. By the time I've like processed this, I've kind of decided it's taking me too long to understand what's going on. I'm scrolling, I'm looking at the next one. My best performing video is here, A Day in the Life of a Consultant in London. And it's very simple. A Day in the Life of, the title is very simple, but then on the thumbnail we have Day in the Life, just to kind of affirm what was in the title, which is not necessarily a good thing, but in this case I think it works. And then just a thumbnail showing me as a consultant. There's obviously demand for this topic in a way that there maybe isn't demand for this, but the thumbnail is also a lot better, kind of accidentally at the time. But it's just me as a consultant looking like in the middle of my day. And that is actually just like representing the video really well. In the same way, this one here, How I Became Insanely Creative, is actually kind of representing the topic quite well. You can see me with a paintbrush, a camera, and a laptop, and it's all quite easy to be like, oh, creative things. It's a bit confusing, but it's like a bit better. But it's not necessarily that intriguing. So you've got a few different steps to kind of go through, which will like consolidate at the end of this video. But you're trying to make the thumbnail simple so people can understand it, but then also interesting so that people click on it. And that is not easy to do. So this thumbnail is a good example. How I stopped consuming content and started creating it actually is quite good, because everyone can relate to this feeling of looking at their phone, watching their phone, scrolling. And I've just captured that quite well in this photo, actually. It's a bit dark. It's a bit gloomy. I don't look that happy. I'm just kind of look like I'm scrolling loads. It looks a little bit kind of like murder mystery, kind of, I don't know, crime thriller vibes, but it's not bad. So when we make our thumbnails, like, we're really thinking about this. We're really thinking about presenting one clear idea in a really simple way, but making it interesting, like making it provocative, trying to really create a question in the viewer's mind that they need an answer to by clicking on the video, and creating like an open loop that you need to answer by clicking on the video. So in this case here, like this recent one, I think this photo of Ali is actually is not very good, but 7 mistakes students make every year. Don't do this. And he's holding up this book, and it's like, okay, what is this? And it's very simple. It kind of works together. There's no wasted space. It's very easy to like imagine. You kind of it's easy to imagine what's going to be in the video. It all kind of works quite well. It creates an open loop. It's sort of a synergy between the title and the thumbnail. Whereas you look at these, and it's kind of like, Tuesdays with Maury, a dying professor's final lesson, and I've got the book, and it's just like, there's not really an open loop particularly strong. I mean, a dying professor's final lesson is somewhat of an open loop, but just not that much of a pull. And not to say that these are perfect by any means. Thumbnails can always be better, and we're always time constrained, all that kind of stuff, and like everyone struggles with thumbnails. But we try to think about presenting a simple idea and making them like creating an open loop and a really strong question that the viewer wants answered. So to go through 3 things to remember. The first thing is to focus on the psychology of the thumbnail, not just the design. Okay, so that is really, really important. The second thing, as we kind of mentioned, is to keep things simple. Really focus on not creating a busy thumbnail and a overcrowded thumbnail. Just presenting one clear idea that really resonates with your target audience, and it's just, when you look at the thumbnail, it's relatively easy to digest what's happening, and you can sort of understand what the video is going to be about at a glance. And number 3, always make more than one. That's the biggest mistake that beginners make, is they make too few, and they just think they'll just make one after they've made the video and that kind of thing. But this process, making more than one, iterates you towards a better thumbnail almost always. So yeah, hopefully that was useful. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Also, please comment interesting things that you would like me to talk about or would like to hear more about, or anything if you're enjoying the videos, whatever it is. But I would appreciate some feedback on the videos. Thank you for watching.